Okay, guys, welcome to today's Tea Party, your 5-minute favorite update podcast where I try to fill you in on all the drama that has been happening, all the tea that has been spilled on all your favorite drama channels on YouTube, specifically the beauty ones. Because in that way, you can actually go on and live your life, make the best out of your day. You do not have to be stuck behind the screen watching hours of content. And just make something out of your life. And I will take it upon myself to fill you in on all the tea that has been spilled, even just in the last 24 hours or so. There is so much that is happening. And I'm also already predicting so much tea to be spilled in like the next few days to come. It's going to be great because in today's episode, and I will try and keep it short, I want to talk about Sister James and what's happening there with this Morphe collab. You know that's going to be drama. And I came across a video from Mango Tea about John Kuckian that I want to briefly discuss. Thomas HALBERT's apology video, or apology-ish video. And I want to touch base upon Here for the Tea because she is back. The Queen is back after being away from YouTube for almost a month or even a month or so. But before we get into today's episode, can I just encourage you that no matter where you're listening from, whether you're listening through YouTube, you're listening through your Apple Podcasts, or whatever way you're listening to today's episode, can you just press that subscribe button? That would mean everything, and it keeps me going. And also, you will never miss an episode. And that automatically means that you will always be 100% up to date with all the drama, all the tea that has been spilled and will spill in the future. So please go ahead, click that subscribe button, and then we can get started with the first subject of today, and that is Sister James Charles. Okay, so now the first thing I want to talk about is the new video from John Kuckian. He tends to upload either nothing or like an insane amount. You can do like 3 videos in a day. So this is a video that was uploaded yesterday or like 16 hours ago based on when I'm recording this. The video is called James Charles Caught Faking Swatches for New Morphe Collab. Now, James Charles, or Sister James, he released or announced that he's going to do a collab with Morphe, and it's like a 35 or 39 eyeshadow palette that is like unleash your inner artist, James Charles artistry, all beautiful, blah, blah, blah. The video that kind of came with that was really a little bit dramatic, at least the intro. It was very James Charles with music and singing and like almost like choreography and all these things. So up front, I think it's really cool. I've been watching James or following James a bit more closely in the last couple weeks or months. And I guess we're not surprised that he is doing a big collab with Morphe, and I think we definitely want this thing to go well. Now in the video, there are 2 things, like in James Charles's video, there's 2 things that are going on, and John is talking about one of them, which is something that I feel personally that could totally be an insane amount of drama happening in the next couple of days to come, depending on how much this would spin out of control. And that's the following. In the video, when James is going through all the like 100,000 colors that are in his palette, and he is putting the swatches of the different colors on his like wrist, there is some where, you know, it's like one swatch and it's beautiful, but there are many colors where not only the editing is done in a way that you are a little bit like, but there are also, especially the black color, you can totally see up front that the color is already on the wrist and that James is not actually putting on the first layer, but he's actually like going over it a second or maybe even a third time. We don't know. And it's just presented to us in a way that we have to believe that this is the first swatch, when you can clearly see that the color that he is about to put on his wrist is already there, and thus, you know, it's kind of deceiving his audience, if you will. And John created a really, really good video on that where he goes into really like a lot of detail and like zooming in completely. And I guess why that's so triggering is that the editing is really done in a way that it always jump cuts the moment he like puts the makeup on his wrist. So you cannot ever really see what's going on there. So that's quite interesting what's going on there. And then the other thing that I personally noticed from the video from James Charles was that when he was presenting his palette, you could see many beautiful colors that were really pressed into the packaging really well. But there were also a few that looked really chalky and just not pressed into the packaging really nice. And when I saw the video for the first time, my gut reaction was, is this really the palette you want to use to showcase to the world, especially if you're zooming in? Just an observation from my side. So go check out the video from John Kuckian, and like I said, there are some other smaller drama channels picking up on this because it is definitely fishy in terms of the swatching on the wrist. You can also in the video see that James Charles places his finger super strategic in a way that it covers everything and you can't see really what's going on the skin. And John covers this super nicely. So if you're interested in that, go check out that video. Now, when we're on the subject of John Kuckian, I discovered by random, I think yesterday, another video specifically about John Kuckian, done by Mango Tea. Mango Tea is another drama channel, if you will. Steve Mango, who runs Mango Tea, he hasn't really been posting a lot. I don't follow him that closely in that sense. But he uploaded this month one video, and I think that's why I noticed. And it was specifically about John Kuckian. And what is it about? It's about the fact that John has a makeup brand called Kuckian, and there was an insane amount of controversy on the drama channels, on the beauty influencer community. I think at the beginning of this year, or at the end of last year. And John is about to launch like the second run of his, or the second collection, or whatever we want to call this, and that's about to be released at the end of this year. Now, what has John been doing apparently is that he has been like scraping, if you will, all the business emails from all the influencers and all the, I guess also the drama channels, because Mango Tea was on that list. And in essence, to be fair, that's not really a bad thing. I think that happens every single day in business. You want to scrape or get as many emails from people that you think can either bring you business or push your business forward. And when you have these emails, you want to start, do like cold email outreach and see if you can start a dialogue with these people to see, hey, can we work together? What can we do? Now, John, I guess, took this principle and he took that to like another level where he would take the business email that's widely available on most like Instagram profiles from people, on YouTube, where it always says like for business inquiries, and then you see an email. Now, what has John been doing? He has taken those emails and then he went to his own website and he created accounts on behalf of these influencers, if you will. And they would then receive an email that says, your account on Kuckian.com has been created. Which I think personally is just taking that whole process, that whole concept of like cold outreach one step too far. I think you literally should not be doing that. That's not smart. because if I'm on the other end, like I can understand that I can get a cold email from somebody and say, hey, I'm this and this person, or I represent this and this company. I'm just reaching out to you today to see, would there be any opportunities for us to work together. But if I get an email from somebody that says, hey, I saw your email, I took your email, I created an account with your email, and now you are receiving this email and account creation confirmation, and this should be your trigger to start working with me, I don't think that goes on really, really well. But guess what? That in itself wasn't even the drama. That wasn't even the thing why Steve got upset. What he got upset about was that when he got the email, in the sender and like receiver section of like his email client that he's using, you on one side can see who the email is from, obviously, and then who sends it. And it turned out that the way that was described, I'm just trying to put this politically correct, like you have to watch the video yourself to see. But the way it was described is that, or shown, is that almost that John was using like, well, not almost, he was using a racial term, let's just put it like that, for the email that went out. So my first gut feeling when I saw this was like, no, I think, Steve, you're getting this wrong. Because imagine if I'm going to send you a text message, the way that you would receive my text message depends on how you have me saved in your phone as a contact, right? Either as not a contact at all, so it would just display my number. But if you would have me saved just by my name, my first name, it would just show my first name. It would have my first last name. You know what I mean? So Steve just went on and on about that, and how John is using apparently in his emails all of these like racial things, blah 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 blah. But honestly, like maybe I have to look into it a little bit deeper. There was, again, I just watched the video, which is my first thought. I thought, actually, Steve, I think you may be getting this whole wrong. And the way you see those sender and receiver emails is not a reflection necessarily about how John is sending them out, but it's a reflection on how that information is stored in your phone or in your address contact list. So that's very, very interesting. But then we also find out that that's been happening to different people as well. So definitely worth checking out that video from Mango Tea. And you can clearly see that Mango Tea hates John Kuckian, like hates him. So again, I don't even understand why John would create an account for Steve. You would only want to either do this for your friends or the ones that you're pretty sure you can make new friends with, not with your worst enemies. So that's quite funny. Moving on then to T-Spill. T-Spill uploaded a video about Thomas HALBERT, specifically about the drama, hopefully kind of ending, that has been surrounded with Thomas HALBERT. If you're unfamiliar, we had so much drama happening in the last few months, and then just when you think everything is like about to end and peace returns into the land, all of a sudden you have Thomas HALBERT creating a video, going on Twitter rants, and just dragging a lot of people into like his mess. And just like everybody else, it's like, it's like the blueprint for how to deal with like viral drama, if you will. You then take a break. So Thomas took a break. I think it was like 2 weeks, and then, which is not that long. And then he started tweeting about how he was going to release a video, talk about everything, so that everything, I guess, for us as being a viewer, trying to understand what's really happening here, would become clear. Then yesterday or so, the video was released. It was a total mess. Didn't really answer a lot of questions. And T-Spill has a really good video where, in essence, Thomas HALBERT is for a part, blaming like mental illness on like his behavior. And T-Spill is ending the video with the question, can you blame mental illness on, in essence, creating so much drama almost on a global scale? And I thought that was a really, really good question. And that's really interesting also just to go into the comment section to figure out what is the opinion of people. And to answer my question, or to answer that question from my end, I think it's not an excuse. Actions have consequences. You need to be aware of that. And especially if you know that you would have, whether it's a mental illness or any kind of circumstance in your life where you know you would be vulnerable towards doing these kind of things, you shouldn't be involved with that in the first place. So I thought it was a really, really nice video of T-Spill to kind of start a debate, start a discussion on like a bigger subject than is Thomas HALBERT, because I think we can all agree that Thomas HALBERT, let's just not talk about him anymore. Moving on then to the final topic of today's episode, and that is Here for the Tea. I consider her to be the queen of drama channels. She's definitely one of my favorites, and I know that you love her as well. She took a break off YouTube. I don't know exactly why. I know that together with T-Spill, they did this whole thing on Jaclyn Hill, and then they released like one episode, and then I think shit just hit the fan, and they had to pull all the further episodes, which I'm still dying to see, by the way. So Here for the Tea, if you're listening to this, send me those episodes. I definitely want to see them. She came back to YouTube, and she was kind of teasing all week on like Instagram with like, oh yeah, I have a new video and it's coming tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and then it didn't work. And then she was having all these problems with like the editing and so on. And then she released this like, I think it was like half an hour, but it felt like 5 hours. This video on Remember When. And even though this was only like 3 weeks ago, I think, it feels already like 3 years ago, because that's just how much drama there is in this community. The drama between Jeffree Star and his former makeup or hairstylist. I forgot his name. I don't think it's that important. But it was the guy who suddenly was like, oh, I have an old phone, and look at all the text messages that I have between me and Jeffree Star to show that Jeffree is still a racist. And she made like a very, very long video on like new receipts and deleted, I don't know, Snapchats or all these things. And my comment to that is that firstly, I was really excited, and I still am, for her to just be back. But because there is so much drama happening, it's just really tough to sit out like such a long video about a subject that honestly just don't care about anymore. And she definitely addresses that also, I think, in the end of her video. She's like, oh yeah, I know that it's like old, but yeah, just don't. Or make it like a 10-minute video. Be like, hey, I'm back. I have some really cool content planned for you guys. And I just want to touch base on one of the videos I did a couple weeks ago. Here's like a 10-minute update. I have some new receipts. And the video in itself, yeah, it shows, in essence, what she's doing. She's recreating a timeline between the conversation of Jeffree and this hairstylist, and like all the drama that was surrounded, during that, or basically surrounded Jeffree during that period of time. And that was definitely interesting to see, but it was way too long. So next time, Here for the Tea, those kind of old things, make it a lot shorter, because I'm doubting if I'm gonna recommend you guys to like watch the whole thing. Definitely like watch the first part. Very, very interesting. But yeah, I guess in the end, I guess you just have to figure it out for yourself. As always, I will leave the links to the videos in the description of my YouTube channel, where you can also listen to this podcast. Maybe you are already, or maybe you're listening this really through a podcast app. If you go to YouTube, just search for Tea Party, and you should be able to find me. You can, or just type in the name of this episode. But that was it, guys. That's it for today, this episode. Again, just to recap, we talked about James Charles, faking his swatches of his new beauty eyeshadow palette. Mango tea and John Kuckian, that's like tea starting to spill. Thomas Halbert, is mental illness really an excuse to just start like an insane amount of drama and just drag a lot of other people into this? I don't think so. And Here for the Tea is back. We are excited. Hopefully just going to bring some really, really good content in the next couple of weeks to come. And for me, guys, that's it. I'm going to sign out for today. Hopefully you are filled in with what's happening, and I will be back with a new episode really, really soon. Until then, make sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to, whether it's on YouTube, any of the podcast apps, or wherever you find this. Click subscribe, and I look forward to speaking with you again and hanging out with you again. Thanks for joining today's tea party. Bye-bye.